What if I told you that you could actually build your business with a YouTube channel without actually becoming a YouTuber? This is something that has become increasingly attractive to the women that I've been talking to and the women that I've been working with because they can see the value, not just from the content and the messaging and the value they can deliver on the platform itself, but they're also experiencing that lift of getting your foot off the gas pedal just a little bit from posting constantly on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. So if that is something of interest to you and you're not interested in buying fancy equipment or showing up with a video that looks like a Hollywood production, you are in the right place. In fact, I'm going to pull up a presentation that I gave recently at a local event that went over so well that I wanted to share it with you here as well so that you could understand how you can achieve your business goals by leveraging YouTube. So whether you're trying to increase your revenue, you're trying to increase the number of clients, client retention, whatever that business goal is, I'm going to show you how YouTube can help you achieve those goals. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about here. This is the exact presentation that I used recently with just a few modifications for a recording versus a in-person live event. So I had to take out those questions that I typically ask at the very beginning, just because I know this is going to be a recording instead of a live event. So let's go ahead and dive in. So how do you achieve your business goals? Before we get started, I do want to let you know I've got an upcoming event on sales systems that you can start and use with your YouTube videos. This has become increasingly more of interest with my dream clients and the clients that I work with, where they want to know how they can leverage the video content to actually drive conversions or drive sales. And so I'm putting together a 90-minute webinar workshop, however you want to talk about that or however you want to reference it, that will be available for you if you're interested in going deeper on how you can use your YouTube videos in order to convert your dream clients on autopilot while you sleep, while you're working, while you're on other social media platforms, while you're spending time with your family, while you're on vacation, whatever it is, your videos will be working for you. So if you want to have your videos working for you on autopilot and start generating the high converting leads and the revenue that you desire in your business, then this is something that you're definitely going to want to sign up for. If you sign up for it soon after the recording of this video, there might be a waiting list page because I am in the process of actually developing that. But if it's a waiting list page, go ahead and add your name. You'll be the first notified when it is available. If you go directly to the page where you can access it, then you have access to all the information that everyone else had to wait for until it was actually released. So go ahead and do that. You can either scan the barcode or you can go directly to vickyoneil.com/starter and you can see that page. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So top business goals. Take a moment, reference your business goals, write down what your business goals are. Basically, if we sum them up, I'm not going to walk through each of these 5, but basically, if we sum these up, you're essentially wanting to make more money, you're wanting to save time, or you're going to want to have essentially more freedom in your life so that you can do more of what you love. That could be working in your business and not on your business. It could be spending time with your kids or your family or vacationing or whatever that might be. But I know if you're a female over 40, you are not wanting to hustle more, right? You've already done that. You've been there. Maybe you were a stay-at-home mom and you did that with your kids and your family and managing schedules. Maybe you worked at a company and you've worked your way up the corporate ladder. Maybe you just started your business and you're like, I know this is going to be a lot of work, but as an owner of your own business, you get to create that freedom and how much you hustle or how much you don't hustle based on what you want and desire in your business and for your life. So essentially, if you're wanting to do more of those things that you love, then this is something that you're definitely going to want to take notes on, and you're also going to want to pay attention to, because that's what we're going to talk about here. Real quick, I'm not going to go through every single bullet point here either, but just to kind of give some context as to who I am. I have a background in a lot of different things. So essentially, I put this quote on here from an insurance company. I hear this and it's like constantly echoing in my mind. I know a thing or two because I've done a thing or two. So I've got over 30 years of business experience, mostly in marketing and sales leadership roles. I started my company in 2011, but didn't really focus on video until like around 2020. So when the C word hit, that's essentially when I remember doing a deep dive and doing live streams every single Wednesday and coming up with videos that I could actually create and that had value that people wanted to watch and learn from. In fact, that's when I had my very first viral video was in October of 2020. And it's pretty exciting when that happens, as long as you have the infrastructure set up to accommodate that. So that's one of the things that we'll talk about. And if you come work with me in any capacity, then we make sure that you've got everything in place so that when or if that happens, you are fully prepared and you can really leverage that, tap into it, and ride the wave as long as it goes. Okay. So to paint a picture on YouTube popularity, this is from the Nielsen group. So it's a completely third-party study. And you're probably familiar with it, right? We've all heard of Nielsen. This was a study that they did of streaming devices. And the reason why I wanted to show this is not because YouTube is number one, but they've been number one for 3 months in a row now. And I also circled Netflix and Disney percentages because if you add those together, they're 1/10 of a point higher than YouTube is alone, just, by its own platform. Now, this is YouTube as the main platform. This does not include YouTube TV. So I wanted to make sure I clarified that because I zoomed it in because I wanted to see what this was here underneath. I'm like, is that YouTube TV? But no, it says YouTube main. And you can go to Nielsen and check out this report. Further details if you would like to do that as well. But I think that's really interesting because we typically hear of people binging the Netflix series or just being on Netflix for, whatever duration. But what's interesting is from a professional standpoint, when people are trying to find information, they tend to binge watch the videos on YouTube. And so I find that fascinating because as someone who really enjoys learning and always focusing on personal development and how can I get 1% better, I'm looking for that information, right? So when I find a creator or I find someone who I really like and has a ton of value, I tend to hook onto them because I want to see more of their content. And so we want you to become that magnet for your dream clients as well, so that when you're sharing that content and they find you, they're drawn in. You're sharing the stories, you're sharing your experience because you've got a lot of experience and stories to share. If you're over 40, that's one of the reasons why I work with women over 40. It's because we have so much more to offer. And really tapping into that and incorporating that into the videos that you're creating so that you're attracting your dream clients is really going to help you not only build your channel, but really grow your business in the process. So that is why I have this on here. It just kind of paints the picture and creates the solid foundation of what's ahead for YouTube. They just, about a month and a half ago from the time I'm recording this video, YouTube celebrated their 20-year anniversary. And what's really interesting is it sounds like a long time for the social media world, but they're just beginning. There's so many exciting things that they're rolling out. They have some of the features rolled out now with beta testers, and there's so much more to come. It's a really exciting time to be on YouTube or getting started with YouTube because it's just going to move forward. They're going to continue to be number one unless one of these other streaming platforms does something completely different and maybe out of character. So that's important to know. So I wanted to share this with you because I found it interesting. Now, this is a snapshot of one of my YouTube shorts. And I did this just a few days ago, actually 5 days ago. And I was surprised at this over here on the right-hand side. I circled TV. Again, this is a YouTube short. So these are the videos that are vertical, right? And it makes sense that mobile is number one, But whenever I've looked at these stats in the past, like I always look at my stats to see how my videos, whether they're YouTube shorts or the regular form videos, are performing. I've never seen TV in any of those 4 categories. I think I might have seen it once and it was like at the bottom. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's number 2. It's ranked second out of the 4 that are there. It's ranked higher than tablets and higher than computers. So that in itself is going to help you understand that people are watching, when they're on their TVs, they're not just watching videos, but they're watching YouTube shorts as well. And so I found that fascinating. So that should solidify even more like what the viewer behavior is like from a device standpoint. And so the reason why I wanted to share that, not just because it was purely surprising to me, but also to paint the picture that when you're moving forward with your videos, to look at the format of your videos and what makes the most sense, right? So where do you get started with YouTube shorts, the long form videos? How do you move forward with that? But just paying attention to the analytics is going to help you determine what direction you go, but you're never going to know what those are until you actually get started. So the first things first is to just get started, right? Have some intention, have a purpose, have a goal for your video, have it targeting your dream client. I'm not saying just to record a random video and upload it. Put some thought into it, plan it, but don't let the fear or hesitation or things that you don't know hold you back about the system itself. You've got the knowledge, you've got the expertise, you've got the stories. Now it's time to press go, right? So that's what I'm encouraging you to do here. So some myths that I want to bust real quick about YouTube is that these are like assumptions that people have about YouTube, that you need to have these things in order to get started. And I will just tell you right now, they are all false. Okay, so your editing skills don't matter. Your subscriber count does not matter. That only matters if you want to get into like the YouTube Partner Program. There are certain subscriber counts that you need to have to get additional features. So if you're just getting started, like you will not be able to live stream until you have 50 subscribers. You won't see the community tab appear until you have 500 subscribers. So that's where that comes into play. But you do not need to have 100,000 or 1,000,000 subscribers to be successful or make money on YouTube. In fact, you don't even have to have any subscribers, because how people watch videos is not based on subscribing to your channel. It's based on interest and other content that those viewers have watched similar to yours, and then yours being served up to them. And so it's really interesting. So I just want to nix all of these things so that you're not like, well, I don't have a subscriber count, I don't have a big audience. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have a big audience on YouTube. You don't have to post every day. In fact, YouTube actually recommends only posting 1 long form video a week. So the longer horizontal videos, 1 time a week, that's it. And you can post twice a week, but that's like the maximum that they recommend. Okay, so if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to do as much on YouTube as I do on all my other social media platforms, you do not, right? So 1 time a week. Your status on other platforms, if you've got 100,000 subscribers on Facebook, that does not translate over to YouTube. Like there's no correlation there. You're starting over from scratch. You're starting from 0. And that's where everybody else starts. Now, yes, you can leverage your audience on Facebook. If you have 100,000 subscribers and you want to bring them over, kind of bridge them over to YouTube, then yes, you can certainly do that. And you would probably get a higher lift on YouTube faster in regards to your subscriber count if you do that the right way. But it's not a requirement for playing on YouTube, and it's not a requirement or any type of separation of the creators on YouTube, what your audience is on other platforms. So that should not stop you whatsoever. You do not need to have fancy camera. You need a phone. You need good lighting. It could be a window. It could be a door. It could be a light, like a ring light. And just have a quiet space. That's all you need. That's your fancy equipment setup. Getting started. That's all you need. You do not have to be an influencer or a YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a business owner. I happen to coach and mentor women on how to leverage YouTube to grow their business, but I'm not a YouTuber. Like this is not my full-time job, right? So, and you don't have to be a full-time YouTuber either. You're very similar to me. You've got a business that you own and that you're focused on and growing. YouTube happens to be a lever a marketing lever that you're using in order to create awareness into the world in a completely new way about who you are, who you serve, and how you can help solve their problems, right? And then the biggest one is you can only make money through the YouTube Partner Program on YouTube. This is the biggest, which is why I'm doing the Sales Starter Program to show how you can actually do this. You can make money through your videos with your very first video. You do not need to be in the YouTube Partner Program, which is where you hear and see most people talking about making money on YouTube. And they'll show you screenshots of, here's how much money YouTube paid me. That's one way that you can make money on YouTube. And that's where subscriber count comes into play as well. Like you need to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 public watch hours of your videos within a rolling 12-month period to apply for the YouTube Partner Program. And the YouTube Partner Program is where you can place ads in your videos, and then YouTube pays you based on the performance of those videos. So, and I mean, essentially when you first get into that program, you don't get paid that much anyway. It depends on, where you're at with your videos and how many views. But I mean, I've seen people say I've only got paid like, $50 or $20. And then I had someone recently tell me that she got her first check from YouTube and it was like $150. So it's not that much, but it's a starting point and it's extra money, right? So of course we're going to say yes to that. And then it just grows from there. So I just wanted to bust those myths before we get started, and to just let you know that really it's all about showing up, sharing your expertise, serving your dream clients in the best way possible, and then really creating consistency. So when you start creating your videos, once a week is not that much, right? I mean, you've planned the videos, if you can batch record, batch plan your videos, that's ideal. I know it's not practical for everyone, but going in and just knowing that you're going to post one video a week and how that's going to work and putting it on your calendar or whatever your accountability structure is. Mine is if it's on the calendar, it's going to happen. So knowing what that is and making sure that it happens is how you're going to create that consistency. And the consistency compounds, just like this Marie Forleo quote that I have on here. Consistency compounds, but only if the container is right. So you also have to show up. You have to do the thing in order to create the consistency that compounds. Like it's not going to happen if you don't show up, right? So here's how this works. And I'm giving you examples here with people based on different levels of subscriber counts, views, videos, how new they are to the platform. I mean, you can see here Melissa, who is, she does insurance exams. She generated her first $7,000 in 5 months, and she had under 1,000 subscribers. Now, I interviewed her for my podcast, and she actually earned her first dollars in the first month. I think it was after her second or third video. So there's ways to do this. And that's what I'm showing you here is that you do not need the YouTube Partner Program. You can earn money with your very first video. Chris, who helps women transition from corporate to owning their own business, enrolled 13 new clients in the first 30 days, and she generated almost $10,000 from that. Jane, who helps couples introduce babies into their lives where there's already a dog, so dogs tend to be animals, or pets tend to become our babies, right? And then when you introduce a human baby, that changes the dynamics. And so there might need to be some training with the dog in order to help that transition for everybody. So that's what Jane does. And her first video got over 1,000 views within 2 weeks. She had 3 prospects reach out. 1 bought her highest ticket program. Okay. And then me, just within the last 60 days, I nearly doubled my views on my channel. And then I got 3 clients from there that generated nearly $8,000. So I've got over 1,000 subscribers. I had around 1,800 subscribers when that happened. But it's just another example that you can earn money and not be in the YouTube Partner Program. Okay. And there's all kinds of examples. I have more later in the presentation too. But really, here's the truth. Most people think that YouTube is just a video platform, but really it's the most powerful marketing and sales tool or sales person that you didn't even know that you had, or that you knew that was even available or that you could hire, right? But it only works if you give it a job, meaning it only works if you share content, you put videos on there. Here's an example of when somebody asks me, like, how do I know this is going to work for me? Like, what's the ROI? And here's a visual component. This was taken 5 days ago to that morning. And so you can always look at your analytics and see how many views were generated in the last 48 hours and what videos were actually creating those views. So in this example, it's just so happened to be that there were 3 videos, and you can see here they were all from 2023. Here they were, and I did screenshots of the actual videos. That this is the shelf life of YouTube videos. Like, they last a long time. Now, not all of them are necessarily going to perform or continue to get views like forever. But if you create content like this, where it does have a longer shelf life, it's not newsworthy, it's not trending, it's not like seasonal, it's not in the moment, breaking news type information. So this is evergreen, which means it can like essentially just live on forever. This is information or videos that you definitely need to have in your library of videos, unless you're like a news source or something like that, and that's all that you do. But if you have a business where most of your content is going to be good or valuable for a longer period of time, that's a really good thing, because it'll continue to live on for you and bring people into you. So in this example, with doing absolutely nothing, right? Because these were from 2023, I had 241 people show up and watch my videos. I didn't do anything. Like, what would you do to not do anything to get 240 people to watch your content from 2 years ago, or essentially a year and a half ago? You're not going to find that on any other platform, not social media, right? So if you're just like, yeah, I just know, and you've got like the but this, but that, I would just ask you, if you had 1 hour to create content for social media for a week, right? So however many pieces, if you're posting something every single day, maybe you're doing Instagram reels and you're doing 3 reels every single day, that would be 21 pieces of content for 7 days, plus all the other content that you're creating. Like, if you had to sit down, you had 1 hour to create content for social media, meaning LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, what would that content look like? And then I want you to take it a step further. I want you to ask yourself, how long does this content last? How long will it be available for people to view, watch, engage with, like, comment, share, DM you? Like, what is the time frame for that? Okay. Versus if you had 1 hour to create video content for YouTube, and it could be long form videos or short form videos, which one would you choose? Knowing this now, of course, because before you might have been like social media because I know it works and that's where I built my business and that's where my community is and that's where all the engagement is. And so I understand that. And I'm not asking you to completely ditch or ignore the business or clients, loyalty, community that you've built on the other platforms. But what I am asking you to do is to look at the possibilities, right? When you create content like this, you are creating not only your legacy, but you're also creating content that your dream clients, regardless of where they're at on their journey to make a purchase or making a buying decision, they come across your content. And if you created it 4 months ago, but now they're ready to see, and it comes up and they watch it and they're like, oh my gosh, I love Vicki's video, and they start watching more of my content. Maybe that's what happened here. They watched more of my content. And so they're binge watching my videos. They're binge watching me because I provided so much value. I was solving a problem, how to edit the middle of a video. Like, I created that video, and you can tell it's not, it was in the moment, had a sweatshirt on. I think I had my hair pulled back, which is why you can see this line here in my hair. I'm like, I'll just take my hair down real quick. And so it was an in the moment video because I'd had a few people leave comments on, I think it was one of these videos. about wanting to know how you could edit the middle of a video. Because I was talking about how you could do the beginning and the ending and like when you were actually creating it. But then what happens like after you've done the video, the editing, how do you actually go in and edit the middle? So I'm like, I'm just going to do a really quick video on this. And so I created that like in the moment. And here it is, at that moment in the last 48 hours, 88 people viewed it. And it's a YouTube short, right? Because that's what that icon is. These other two are longer form videos. But this ROI on YouTube videos is much higher only because it's got a longer shelf life. Yes, it takes longer to actually create a video, right? You have to plan it out. You have to record it, do light editing. I wouldn't spend a ton of time editing your videos or sending it out to have somebody edit your videos. Just do light editing, and then publishing it, sharing it on other platforms. When you do that, your ROI is going to be higher simply for the fact that it lasts longer. Okay. So, and if you want to challenge me on this, I welcome it. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking on that. Okay. But this whole reason is why I created the Yes Effect, which is the movement that I've created for women who want a community of amazing, high achieving other business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants who are on a similar path, but want to be surrounded by other women who are doing amazing things. And so that's what the Yes Effect is and the reason why I created that. In fact, if you want to go to VickiO'Neill.com/yes, I've got everything in there, including, or you could just go to /manifesto. And that's where I have like my manifesto, the reason why I created this movement. I'm very passionate about it. It was just created I don't want to say just, it was created a few months ago. So I'm at the beginning stages, but YouTube and having a channel and having content on your channel is like the basic foundation of what I have planned in this entire movement. Like I've got bigger projects, but YouTube is going to be the main point of contact. And so you'll need to have that foundation created for all these other things. Okay. So, keep moving along. This is really important to know. Take a screenshot if you want to pause this and do, take a photo, whatever you want to do. But this is important to know when it comes to YouTube because it's one of the best ways to differentiate yourself, especially when you're looking at social media. And especially now that people are using AI and they're just mass producing content and just sharing it everywhere and saying, oh, you need to produce more content. Now you're like, I'm already on the content hamster wheel and now I've got to create more. You're starting to get exhausted. You're like, when is this going to end? And you're like, oh my gosh, it's never going to end because you don't see the end in sight, right? Because the more that you do that and you're feeding the algorithm, you're not essentially doing anything for you. You're helping the algorithm stay moving and cranking out whatever it does at that moment, instead of actually serving your clients. YouTube, on the other hand, is a step above that with podcasting and writing a book, right? So it's search driven, but it's also something that you can use to help build your email list. These are things that you own. And so you have more control over who sees that content, how you go about attracting people to that content. And it's a step above because I don't want to say it's harder. I mean, essentially it is harder. I mean, writing a book's harder. YouTube's harder. Podcasting, if you're not used to just talking, versus being seen or just writing, it could be harder, right? So that's why there's not as many people doing it. But it's also a way to stand out amidst everybody else because not everybody's doing it. Now you could stay down here in social media land and just blend in. It's easy. It's free. You can just type out whatever. You can go to ChatGPT and create a prompt and say, hey, write me a post for this. It does it. You post it and you're like, yeah, I got that done. Check. Right. That's essentially all you're doing in that level anymore is you're checking a box and saying that I've created this content. It's done. It's posted. Now, I'm not saying that it's not valuable, but you're blending in and the algorithms are getting more, at least from what I've seen on Facebook and LinkedIn. I don't spend much time on Instagram anymore. But what I've seen on Facebook and Instagram is it's becoming more and more populated with ads and sponsored people and recommendations for other people. And I don't even see many people that I'm connected to anymore. So it's becoming even more difficult to stand out because now I'm competing with paid ads and sponsored ads and, recommendations and, depending on the platform. But when you're on YouTube, it's all about, I've got this channel, but people are actually searching for you. So think about how you use YouTube, right? You're not going out there and, scrolling YouTube. You put in a search first, and then you're looking for the information. When you're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, you're essentially, you're scrolling. That's all you're doing. And you're looking for information. Very rarely I don't think I've ever heard people, I've done just out of curiosity, but they're not going to Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram and saying, okay, here's, I'm typing in what it is that I'm looking for and then looking through results. And no one is absolutely going to your profile and looking through all your content. It's not happening. So this is a way for you to create content that people are demanding. They're asking for it through search. And maybe they've watched somebody else's video and then your video pops up because it's similar, right? So that is just a step above, and it's a place where there's still so much opportunity because not everybody's playing in that space. And so there's more opportunities to grow and be seen. And one of the amazing reasons why I love working with women in this space is because I can help them be seen faster and to get that attention and to get the leads and create that lead conversion system that I'll touch on here in just a few minutes. And then the top of that is paid ads, essentially. So that's, once you've done the organic and you're here, you kind of like build up to that because now you've got money coming in and you're reinvesting it and trying to reach a broader audience. But I don't focus on that. So we'll just skip over. One of the things that you may have seen or heard about is a trust recession. So people today are very leery of content, people, what they're sharing, even more so with AI. But if you show up as yourself on camera, like I am right now, and I'm going to make myself bigger on here. There you go. But you show up on camera and people get to see you and they start to get to know, like, and trust you. People buy from people they trust, right? So they're not going to go to Facebook, see your name, see you talking about something, have an image posted, and then be like, I got to buy from her, right? They're going to be like, I need to go and kind of do some research and maybe see who else is offering this product because I don't know who this person is. And so when you show up on video, you're showing more of who you are. And so your personality and how you talk and the type of information you share and the way that you share it, which is why I do live streams. I do long form. I do this kind of like a webinar. I do shorts. I do community posts. Like I do the different types so that people can get a very well-rounded view of who I am as a person and help them get to know, like, and trust me too. And also the type of information that I share, right? So there's ways that you can build trust faster in video because people can see you, they can hear you, you can see my facial expressions, you can see I talk a lot with my hands. And even if I wasn't sharing my screen, you would still see that, right? But you also get to see some of my environment. So I'm letting you into my world, which also helps like bridge that gap between who is she and, hey, I want to work with her, right? So there's ways to speed up that process in order to make that happen. So when people trust you, they're going to be more likely to buy from you. They're going to be more likely to recommend you. And so being on YouTube or just being on video in general is going to help you do that. Okay, trust converts. Okay. And here's an example. I'm going to zoom this back in so you guys can see it. So going on the whole like trust recession, this is a Google study that was done. I think it was done it was either 2023 or 2000. It might have been done last year in 2024. But essentially, it's showing that not one person when they're making a buying decision is going to one place, one person and saying yes, right? So this is saying that you need to have, people are now on average, it's going to vary depending on your industry, your location, like there's a lot of variables. So these are averages, just to put that out there. But on average, any one person who wants to make a purchase decision is going to consume 7 hours of content with 11 touch points across 4 platforms. So if you're only spending time on Facebook and Instagram as part of the Meta family, that's only 2 places. Those people are probably also going to websites, they're going to YouTube, and they might be searching on Google and maybe they see a podcast or they see, something else. If they're on their email list, they're going to see emails. There's going to be all these different touch points. And so if you're only focused on one, maybe you're only on LinkedIn, that is not necessarily the only place that people are going to go or base their decisions on. Now, yes, on any of these platforms, you're more than likely providing a ton of value, but you have to think about your dream client and where they're at on their buying journey and how your content plays into that, because the algorithms on social media are mostly based on time, right? So if you post something today, give it about, I'm going to say 48 hours. I'm being very generous if you're on Facebook. We'll just say 48 hours, right? And then that content's gone. Well, what if that person who needs your service needed to see that message, but because it's controlled by the algorithm, it's not going to be seen? So either they're going to be looking for somebody else, or it's going to delay their purchase, solving the problem, helping them overcome that pain point, whatever that is, even more so. But when you're on YouTube, if they want that information, they're going to search for it and it's going to pop up and they're going to view it and it's going to be timely regardless of when you posted it. That's the key here. Okay. And so, yeah, they're still going to consume 7 hours, 11 touch points, 4 platforms. There's going to be a ton more value delivered to them on YouTube, right? And if you look at this example here, would you rather create, 3 YouTube videos? Now, of course, these are probably going to be, we'll just say 14 videos, okay, for the sake of simplicity of saying each of these videos are going to be 30 minutes each to make up that 7 hours, okay? So would you rather create 14 30-minute videos, or would you rather create, it's essentially like over 1,000 posts that takes like a year and a half to actually get across to hit that 7 hours, right? So it's crazy. But if you look at the YouTube videos, let's just say 30-minute videos once a week. Now you've got 14 weeks, but you're not starting from that very first point, right? You've been posting these and they're out there. And so they're grabbing them. They're requesting it through their search, right? So keep that in mind as you're moving forward, that more content does not actually mean more or better results. It just means more content. And more content is actually contributing to the noise that's making it really frustrating for the people who are looking for the answers. They're looking for the value. They're looking for you. And it's just making it really hard for them to find you. So let's simplify it, right? So YouTube is not for popularity. It's for profitability. Visibility will get you seen. Watch time, which is that Netflix effect, right? They're going to binge watch your videos, is what's going to build the trust. And then videos with purpose will actually bring in the qualified leads. And so when I work with my clients, I am looking at the funnel. And so the different buyer stages. So understanding the customer journey, and then building different videos that are going to generate different types of leads depending on where their client or potential client is in their buyer journey, so that no matter where they're at, no matter what the video is, they're getting the answers, they're getting quality, and they have a next step, right? So I help my clients build their email list. I help them generate leads. I help them convert those leads into actual paying clients. And so that's how this whole thing works. You have a video, you've got a lead magnet. That lead magnet could lead to a call or whatever that next step is for you. And then that call leads to a client. And so I help you with that process. So one of the things that I want you to look at is, what am I doing today that could be done by a video instead? If you're finding yourself explaining something in great detail and it takes a long time because you're texting it, you're sending it in a DM, maybe you're doing it in a voice message and you're like, you know what, I've had like 5 people ask me a similar question, and you're finding yourself repeating the information, maybe that's a time to actually create a video so they can see you, they can hear your voice inflection, and they can get to know, like, and trust you faster, right? And then you're not repeating yourself all the time. It's a resource that you can refer people to, even in a DM, right? Somebody asks you a question, you're like, hey, here's a link to a video. Now they get this information. Now you've linked them to your YouTube channel where they can also binge watch your other content that's going to collapse time and how they get to know, like, and trust you, which is going to help them buy from you faster. Plus they see you as this, valued resource that went above and beyond to give them more information than they even asked for, or they even thought to ask for, right? So this is the system that I use to help you grow your business. So we create the video series with the lead magnets, and the whole thing is essentially like a flywheel, right? So it just keeps working for you this way. And so we create the lead magnets, help you create your mid or high ticket offer if you don't already have those in place. But I help you create the system and the structure so this works for you on autopilot 24/7 while you're sleeping, while you're working in your business, while you're on vacation, whatever it is that you're doing. This is working for you because your dream clients are searching for information when you're doing other things, right? You could be sleeping, even if you're on the East Coast in the US and you only serve the US. If you have somebody in Hawaii that happens to be interested in what you offer and they're on Google or even YouTube searching for this information, they're like, depending on the time of year, like 6 hours behind. And if it's outside of your working hours, which is pretty likely, right? Because it's a 6 hour difference. They might be looking for your information when you're sleeping or doing something else, working in your business, on a call with clients. So it's going to be there, right? It's going to be a lot easier to connect with those people. The holdback I'm finding with people, and the reason why they're not moving forward, and hopefully this isn't you, but if it is, great. I think this would be a great opportunity for you to like stay in my world and watch more of my videos, is that the amount of time it takes to create a video. But here you can see I had it's not PowerPoint, it's a Canva presentation that I used from a different event. I pulled it up and I'm walking through it again, right? So if you have things like that you can post, that's a good starting point, right? And so what's really happening here is what I just talked about. We're going like this, and we're going through the process. We're building your email list. We're nurturing those who didn't buy yet until they purchase or they say no and they unsubscribe, whatever that looks like. That's really what's happening in that whole process. And so what I'm doing here is I'm using my yes signal framework in this process. And this is something that I created. And so it's the YouTube engineered for sales, which is the YES acronym has a lot of different meanings depending on what we're talking about. But in this case, it's the YouTube engineered for sales. And so what we're doing here is we're looking at your offer positioned for pull, right? So people who are pulling the information, you're not pushing it on social media and just kind of hoping that they find it. We're creating it so that it engages them in something, whether it's liking, it's commenting, it's taking action, it's sharing it, whatever it might be. And then also implementing a strategic system that's going to help with the conversion piece of it. Okay, so this whole piece comes together. And the focus here is not to help you create videos so that you become a YouTuber. We're doing this because YouTube is going to do the heavy lifting in your business so that you don't have to be doing all of these repetitive tasks or answering repetitive questions or trying to do the cold calling and finding brand new clients when all you need to be doing is setting up your YouTube channel and creating this system so that it works for you to find those individuals. Okay. And then in your videos, I use my hero framework, which is looking at the hook, the emotion, the roadmap, and then the offer itself. Okay. And we go deeper into that if we work together. And then this is one of the final slides. The reason why I wanted to share this is twofold. This is a YouTube short that I was doing a 30-day YouTube short challenge just myself. I'm like, I'm going to post a short every single day and see what happens. And so this was one of the shorts that I had posted. What's interesting is that this YouTube short I had posted, I think it was like a year and a half prior to this, and it got like 176 views. And so I'm like, okay. And when I looked at it, the title and the thumbnail they just weren't ideal for a YouTube short. And at the time, I don't think that you could choose what your thumbnail was. So that might have been part of it too. And now you can't. So I'm like, here's what I'm going to do differently. So I changed the thumbnail and I put "you can't." And then the title is "Start with Bad, Then Good." You can see it right here. And so you have that as your title. And then somebody's looking at the screen saying, "You can't." They're like, "I can't what? Like, I got to watch this." I think that's what the thought process was. So anyway, this got nearly 95,000 views. It generated 84 subscribers, but got over 1,000 likes, 7 comments. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that if you had a message and you could get in front of 95,000 people, would you do it? And so comparison to this, I'm in Ohio. So I'm like, how many people are in the Ohio State Buckeye Stadium? Like that holds either 102 or 107,000 people. So I look at that and it's this huge horseshoe of all these people. And I'm like, that would be amazing. But that's essentially this video got in front of that many people. And I was like, that's pretty impressive. Like that's, I would love to get in front of that many people, right? So it drove a lot of activity, but it took 8 days before it actually did though. And so that's one of the things is that when you post content, you don't know what's going to happen, which is why when I work with my clients and even with my videos, I work through the process of what does this look like for the user or the viewer? If they view it, are all the pieces in place? Is there a next step? What does that look like? Is that next step in place? And then what does that look like? So we think through all of this when you work with me, and I will help you get all of this set up so that it's completely seamless. So if you have a video that blows up, then you know what you need to do and it's already in place. You don't have to worry about it. I can do a celebrate and, thank you. I'm glad that this actually happened. And then everything's in place. You're not stressed over it. So here are a few more examples. Jeffrey went from consistently hitting $10,000 months with less than 700 subscribers. Again, if we look at subscriber numbers, it's irrelevant when it comes to how much money you can make on YouTube. And now he's making a multi-million-dollar business. Kim, who is a retired teacher, and she's teaching other teachers how to create online businesses for them, built a 7-figure business with only 176 subscribers. Sloan, who teaches German to other individuals, achieved her first $10,000 a month by narrowly focusing on her expertise. So really getting specific instead of just, I'm teaching German. She got specific on the type of German and then the individual that she's teaching the German to. And so that actually helped her. So going broader doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have or hit more sales. It simply means that your message is going to be essentially muted and it's going to be diluted because it's not going to hit the right people, right? So that's telling the algorithm something. But when you can get specific and hone in on the people that you ideally want to work with and your message is best for and who can, get the solutions that you have to offer, that's actually going to be better than hitting more people, okay? And then Nate achieved $677 within 2 hours of posting his first video and had 0 subscribers. And again, the reason why and how that happened is because you don't have to have subscribers for your videos to be seen. It's all search-based. So on other platforms, you might have to be a follower or a friend or a subscriber. You might see it if it's a secondary person who commented on something, but here it's all about the demand. Someone searched for the information, it popped up, and then that person viewed it. And because the value was there, it solved the problem that they were looking for. They took that next step, which was a purchase. And it could have been a low ticket offer. That gets them on your email list and it generates some money that goes into your bank account, right? It's a win-win. So I help you collapse time. And I take everything that I've learned in my experience with YouTube, which I talk about in different videos. And I help you collapse time. Let's not take all the time that I did. I help you get past any issues that you might have with confidence on camera or fear of being on camera, what to say on camera, how to say it on camera, all of those things, and then creating that consistency. So I help you get past all of that not strictly, but only because those are the things that I've experienced. And so I know how to effectively help you get past that as well and help you shine on camera so that you don't have to let months or years go by like I did. We're going to expedite that time and get you going fast so that you can start to experience what it's like to make money on autopilot and not have to change your screen so that you're watching social media or posting or commenting or whatever the rule is that week for that particular platform. So when we look at why YouTube now, it's all about bingeability. And so that helps people get to know, and trust you faster. So you create that content for them when they're ready, have it all there packaged in a way that they can get the information that they need so that they can make a decision at that moment before they leave your channel. Okay. And so if you think about it, compared to Instagram, I look at Instagram as more of a cocktail party where people are just kind of out there posting pretty pictures and they're engaging. And I know people make businesses on there. They're very successful. But compared to YouTube, I look at YouTube as like a TED Talk. So depending on like where you want to spend your time and the image that you want to portray and the people that you want to help, that's ultimately a way that you could look at that. Okay. We've talked about this. The buyer journey's changed. It's all about looking at how you can leverage what's available to you to work for you. And so YouTube is essentially a marketing and sales person that is actually doing the work for you. You just have to give them something to work with. It's essentially like if you came to work for me as my marketing or salesperson, but I give you zero context as to what I'm doing, but I'm like, hey, you're a marketing or salesperson for 10K marketing. You're like, okay, like, what does that mean? Like you have to give it meaning, right? So it's the platform, but the platform needs something to work with. And so your videos become the something to work with. Then the marketing and sales people have something to work with to get it out to more people. Okay. So again, I invite you to, if you're interested in learning more and doing a deeper dive on how you can make money on YouTube as a business owner, as a coach, as a consultant, not to become a YouTuber, just to work your magic and doing what you do, I invite you to go to vickioneal.com/starter, or you can scan the QR code and add your name to the wait list. If this is already active, then you'll know that when you go there, because then everything will be populated instead of saying wait list. So hopefully this has added value. I would love to know in the comments what your biggest takeaway is from this video. Let me know if it was the surprising stats on YouTube and where it falls in the streaming, how you can make money on YouTube, how it compares to social media, just being that content hamster wheel. Like, what was the one thing that stood out to you the most as something that is going to help you take that next step in your YouTube journey to either get started, revisit, revive, continue, whatever that verb is for you? I would love to know. So definitely drop it in the comments. And as soon as I see comments, I respond to them. So just know that that will be coming as well. Okay. Let me go back here, remove that here. Thank you so much for being here and being on my channel. I appreciate you and the time that you invested here. I know that you have other things that you could be doing and you waited and said, hey, I see value here. I'm going to stay till the end. And so I appreciate you for that. If this was valuable, definitely sign up for this. And if you're wanting the next step while you're here on my channel, go ahead and watch this video because it's the one that YouTube is saying is going to be the best based on your viewing history and your interest. Go ahead and click on it. I'll see you over there.